Welcome to Finnish walkthrough course episode number 2, Introduction. So today we will go through different phrases and words about introducing yourself. So here you can see the page for which we are giving the answers. So like you might know already, based on our previous videos, the structure of our course is based on our English-Finnish fill in the blanks notebook, which you can see here. So we have 68 different topics, and we already have covered alphabet, greetings, and now introduction here. So we will give you all the answers that you can see here, and also some extra phrases and words together with the grammar explanation and also cultural tips. So what will we learn today? We will learn asking someone's name and telling your own name, asking someone's age and also telling your own age. In total, 9 different phrases, 13 nouns and 4 verbs. So let's start. The first one is, who are you, in singular? And the formal version would be, kuka sinä olet? Kuka sinä olet? And the colloquial would be, kuka sä oot? So sinä becomes shorter, it becomes sä, and olet becomes oot. The answer, I am, and then your name. So the formal is, minä olen, my name is Christian, so minä olen Christian. Oh, this is actually, yeah, I am Christian. So you can say, minä olen Christian, or you can also say your profession, like I'm a teacher, I'm an entrepreneur, and just place it after this phrase. Minä olen opettaja, teacher. Minä olen oppilas, a student. Colloquial would be mä oon. Mä oon. For example, mä oon Christian. Mä oon opettaja, teacher. Mä oon oppilas, student. And here we have the question, what's your name? Formal. Mikä sinun nimesi on? Mikä sinun nimesi on? And the colloquial, mikä sun nimi on? Mikä sun nimi on? Mikä sun nimi on? And you can say mä oon, or no, yeah, I would say kuka sä oot. The natural answer would be mä oon. But if someone asks mikä sun nimi on, then you would say my name is. So formal. Minun nimeni on Christian. Or a really formal one would be olen nimeltäni Christian, but yeah, this one isn't used that much. I would say in written form it would be minun nimeni on Christian. This one, I think this one is more used in third person, like his name is, hän on nimeltään, but I will talk more about this later in this lesson. The colloquial version would be mun nimi on. So mun nimi on Christian. Mun nimi on Christian. So minun becomes mun. Nimeni, you actually drop the possessive suffix. Like we talked in the previous lesson, I introduced the possessive suffixes. So the basic form is nimi, and my name is nimeni. Actually, you wouldn't need to say minun nimeni on. it's good enough to if you say nimeni on, because the nimeni includes the minun. Mikä sun nimi on? Nimeni on. Yeah, you can just say nimeni on or minun nimeni on. But this is quite um formal, or I would say official. And the colloquial would be mun nimi on, like I said. So let's continue. So if you want to say, you can call me after introducing your name, like mun nimi on Christian, and then you can say, but you can call me Krisu, for example, because in Finland my nickname is Krisu. When I've traveled abroad, it's like Chris sometimes. So I could say here, mutta sinä voit kutsua minua Krisuksi, or if it's a Chris, then it would be Krisiksi. So let me show you. So the formal is sinä voit kutsua minua, the name, and then we use which case was it? Just wait a moment. I will show you the cases again. I think it's so important to mention which case it is so you can understand and memorize. You don't need to memorize, but I mean, I just want to explain it thoroughly. So it's a translative, the ksi ending. So into something. And in this situation, you would use it too. So sinä voit kutsua minua Krisuksi. And in my wife's case, sinä voit kutsua minua Annaksi. That's maybe a bit easier. With some names, you have to change the ending a bit more. Yeah, let's see here. I'll give you a few more. Sinä voit kutsua minua Annaksi. Sinä voit kutsua minua. What would be a difficult name? Okay, Antti is a Finnish name, so Antti is the name, but now it becomes Antiksi. One T disappeared, but you don't need to think too much about this. Usually it's just the name and the nickname and Xi. Let's say Andy. So, what's I mean, Andy Xi. So just place your name Xi. And the colloquial would be, sä voit kutsua mua Krisuksi, sä voit kutsua mua Anna, sä voit kutsua mua. And like you can see from the brackets, you can omit sinä in the formal one. And here, sä. You can just say, voit kutsua mua. But I think in the colloquial form, I would prefer to say the pronoun. So sä. Sä voit kutsua mua Krisuksi. And in colloquial speech, you don't need the I in the end. You can say it, but you can also omit. Sä voit kutsua mua Annaksi. So here you can see the pattern, how to say this. I also wanted to show you some Finnish first names. So we have this cool website called Nimipalvelu. Nimi is name, palvelu is a service, so name service. All right, let's search for my name. And here you can see some statistics. How many men? So miehiä means men. Naisia means women. The basic form is mies, singular, miehet, plural, nainen, singular, naiset, plural. But here the plurals are in, I think it's in partitive case, yeah. So here you can see how many people have had the name Christian. So here, 19 to 1909, 210. I was born in 1990, so in the 90s there were 12,321. Okay, 16 women. And here you can see the statistics. Like here's the graph and here the chart. Let's search for Anna's name. So you can see the popularity of different names, which is, I think, quite cool. Let's search for some English names, for example. Say David. What else? Michael. Yeah, so this is an interesting tool to use. Oh yeah, I'll show actually the most popular first names. So here, suosituimmat etunimet. So I will, let me write here. Suosituimmat etunimet. Suosittu is popular. Etunimi is first name. In plural, suositut, etunimet. And suosituimmat is the superlative of suosittu. But it's actually in participle case. But yeah, like I said, don't pay too much attention. I just want to explain how you get this form. So suosituimmat etunimet, it means the most popular first names. And I will show you now the top 10. Yeah, top 10. So top 10 in Finland currently, 2024, February. Juhani, so there are 357,000 Juhanis. Wow, that's more than 5%. We have 5.6 million people in Finland. So yeah, that's a lot. Johannes, Olavi, Antero, Tapani, Kalevi, Tapio, Matti, Mikael, Ilmari. And the women, Maria, Helena, Johanna, Anneli, Kaarina, Marjatta, Anna, Liisa, Sofia, Annikki. So a few international ones like Maria, Helena, Johanna, Anna, Liisa. Here it's with two I's. In Finland, it's usually like this. Sofia. So I think the women's names in the top 10 are more international than the men's names, because basically, well, Johannes is used a lot in Nordic countries and I think in Germany, German-speaking countries. But the others are quite Finnish, except Mikael. So you can here check. They have the top 100, I think. Okay, let's continue. What's your surname? Formal? Mikä sinun sukunimesi on? And colloquial, mikä sun sukunimi on? And sukunimi is in the nominative, so the basic form. And here in the formal one, it's like I said before, this is with the possessive suffix. Mikä sun sukunimi on? Mikä sinun sukunimesi? And the answer would be, my surname is, then you say your surname. Minun sukunimeni on, let's see what's the most common, Korhonen. Minun sukunimeni on Korhonen. Or colloquial, mun sukunimi on Korhonen. So either formal, minun sukunimeni on Korhonen, or colloquial, mun sukunimi on Korhonen. And let's check what others, I will read them out loud. Korhonen, Virtanen, Mäkinen, Nieminen, Mäkelä, Hämäläinen, Laine, Heikkinen, Koskinen, Järvinen. In my family, there are Mäkinen, yeah, I think it's the only one from the top 10. So here you can say miehet, naiset, yhteensä. Yhteensä means in total. So you can see, and okay, here, sija is like the rank. There are 11,000 people, 11,000 men who have the surname Korhonen, almost 11,000 women. In total, 22,000. And here you can see the top 10 have 15,822 to 22,000. And like with the first names, you can see here the top 100. And here, sukunimi haku. Haku is search. So let's check. Laine. You might know the hockey player Patrick Laine. How many have this name? So here you can see current name, nykyisenä nimenä. This is actually in one, is it relative case? No. It's essive, so as. The nykyinen nimi is current name, but nykyisenä nimenä is as current name. Let me show you. Nykyinen nimi is current name, but in essive it's nykyisenä nimenä. So people who have this name as their current name, previous name, and people who have died and who had this name. What else? Kiprusov, that was also a hockey player in NHL, a Finnish hockey player. Not many. What else? Selänne, Teemu Selänne. No, it's not that popular. Only 156. Mika, you might know the Formula One driver Häkkinen, Mika Häkkinen. 11,000 in total. Räikkönen, Kimi Räikkönen, he's very famous around the world. Räikkönen, there are 2,000 who have the name Räikkönen. What else? Kekkonen, the longest lasting president of Finland. 4,000. What else? Yeah, the previous prime minister was Sanna Marin. Marin, it's not a typical Finnish name. I think it's maybe from Sweden. But yeah, there are quite many. What about the current president, Stubb? Only 185. But yeah, you can just type the name here. Hae sukunimeä. Hae is the imperative of search. Hakea. Hae. Sukunimi. and the partitive sukunimeä, search the surname. Next, telling your age and asking someone's age. How? Actually, did I skip something? No. Kuinka vanha sinä olet? Or just kuinka vanha olet. You don't need to say sinä. You can say kuinka vanha olet or kuinka vanha sinä olet. Or another way would be minkä ikäinen sinä olet. Or minkä ikäinen olet without the sinä. And this is also possible. Mikä sinun ikä? Mikä sinun ikäsi? Mikä sinun ikäsi? But I would say these two are more common. Colloquial would be kuinka vanha sä oot? Or kuinka vanha oot? Again, in the colloquial one, I would include the pronoun. So kuinka vanha sä oot? Minkä ikäinen? Minkä ikäne? We might not pronounce the final N in the ikäinen, and also it's not ikäinen. You can just ikäinen. So for example, here the I, you drop it. So minkä ikäinen sä oot? Or minkä ikäinen oot? When you say quickly. Minkä ikäinen oot? Minkä ikäinen sä oot? So minkä ikäinen sä oot? It sounds weird when you say it slowly, but that's how I say it. Mikä sun ikä on? But this sounds a bit weird. Mikä sun ikä on? Mikä sun ikä on? So I would recommend using these two. Kuinka vanha sä oot, or minkä ikäinen sä oot. These two are the ones that I use always. And the answer would be formal. Minä olen, and the age in, let's say, 10 years. 10-vuotias. Minä olen 10-vuotias. Or any age. I'm 33, so minä olen 33. Yes. You write that. 33-vuotias. Or, like you can see here, the other one. Yeah, I will just make it shorter. I will just say 1. Did I write it in English? Minä olen 1-vuotias. Just place your age in nominative. So the good thing is that you don't need to change the case of the number. In this case, in some cases you need it, but telling your age just in the basic form. Minä olen 1-vuotias, or minä olen 1. Okay, 1 vuotta vanha. I think this might be. I have to think. Let's say 2. 2 vuotta. This is 2. I'm 2 years old. Minä olen 2-vuotias, or minä olen 2 vuotta vanha. Or there's also the minä olen 2 vuoden ikäinen. Ikäinen is like aged. It's the adjective from age. So I don't know how to explain this in English, but it's a bit more difficult because you have to change the number and also the age here. It's in genitive. Vuosi, vuoden. And the number isn't, yeah, like I said, in genitive. So it's probably easier to use these, but let me tell you the colloquial ones. So, mä oon 2-vuotias. Mä oon 2 vuotta vanha. I would probably prefer the first one. Mä oon 2-vuotias. Mä oon 33-vuotias. Like my actual age, I will write it here. Mä oon 33-vuotias. In formal speech, it would be minä olen 33-vuotias. I will talk more about the numbers and how to say them colloquially in the next chapter, actually, chapter number 3. But yeah, you just place your age and say mä oon, then your age, vuotias. Mä oon 1-vuotias. Mä oon 2-vuotias. Mä oon 10-vuotias. Mä oon 100-vuotias, 100. Or mä oon 10 vuotta vanha. Or mä oon 100 vuotta vanha. Mä oon 30 vuotta vanha. Mä oon 20 vuotta vanha. This is how to answer the question how old are you. And now I want to show you some things about the Finnish demographics because we were talking about age. So I thought it would be interesting to show you something about the demographics of Finland. Here you can see how the population has grown in Finland from 1750 to 2022. So here you can see in 1750 the population was less than 500,000. Suomen sota. Sota is war. Suomen is genitive, so the war of Finland. Here, I think it's 1809, so when Sweden lost the Finnish territories to the Russian Empire. So you can see the drop here in the population growth. And then it started growing. Cholera-vuodet. So cholera is cholera, and vuodet is years, the cholera years. Again, a small drop here. Let's see. The Finnish population surpassed 1 million in like 1810s and 2 million in around 1870s. Nälkävuodet. Nälkä is hungry. Hunger, actually hunger. So hunger years. So we had the last famine here. And then the population surpassed 3 million in 1910s. Then there was the civil war, sisällissota. Sisällissota. So sisällä is inside, and from this word, many different words are derived, like sisällissota, like the interior, like sisällis, that means something with the interior. And then Second World War here, and the population surpassed 4 million around 1950. A lot of people moved to Sweden. So Ruotsi is Sweden. Ruotsiin is to Sweden. Muutto is a migration or relocation or a move to Sweden. A lot of people moved to Sweden like in the 60s, 70s because Sweden was more developed at the time. And 5 million was surpassed here. I think it's in the 90s. And currently it's like 5.6. Let me show the age pyramid or whatever, the population pyramid here. You can see in blue the current demographics, and in orange the estimation for 2070. So it's like in most of Western countries, you can see that there will be much more older people than young people. But yeah, let's continue now. Now you know the basic phrases about this topic. So now I will introduce the nouns, and the first one is age that we already used. So ikä is age, and here you can see the declinations of the word age. Ikä, iät, iän, ikien, ikä, ikiä, and so forth. Actually, a few weeks ago, I started thinking, what's the plural inessive of ikä? And I was like, could it be iisa? Because that's such an unusual plural form, but I checked it and it was. And for example, in the sentence, in all ages, I was thinking, how do you say that? I'm a native, why am I thinking about this? But it is kaikissa iisa. But let's not think about this too much now. You can see where to find this. You can ask me how to say some phrases with the word ikä, age, in different phrases, but now I'm just introducing you a few easy ones because I don't want you to try creating too hard sentences now because I think it's better to introduce little by little more grammar. So I have a few examples here. The first one is the sentence ikä on vain numero. Age is only a number. So ikä, it's in nominative. On is vain, only. Numero, number. And like you know, we don't have any articles. And the other one is I was thinking like common phrases, sayings, or something where you would use the word ikä. And here I have it in the innocent. So mies or nainen parhaassa iässä. That would be man or a woman in her best age. So for example, man in his best age. Mies parhaassa iässä. And paras, let me show you. So paras is best. And ikä, you know it already, is age, and iässä, in the age. So here, iässä. And parhaassa is the innocent because the adjective and the noun have to be in the same case. So parhaassa iässä, in the best age. The next word is year, vuosi. And let's check the declinations. Vuosi, vuodet, vuoden, vuosien, vuotta, vuosia. And here you can see all the declinations. And I have one example. Vuosi on ajanlaskun yksikkö. So ajanlasku is unit of ajanlasku. Ajanlasku is like counting of the time. Aika is time. And lasku is counting. So ajanlasku, ajan is the genitive of aika, and lasku count like the nominative. So ajanlasku, it comes from these two. And then ajanlaskun is the genitive. So vuosi on ajanlaskun yksikkö. Yksikkö is unit. And I will teach you how to say this year, next year, last year, in every year, in like all the different phrases with the word year and month and week later. I think it's going to be chapters number Was it 5 or 6? 5, 6. Anyways, it's coming later. Now, just want to introduce most of the basic forms of these words. The next one is nimi, name. So it's quite similar. Nimi, name. Here you can see how it's conjugated. Nimi, nimet, nimet, nimien, nimeä, nimiä. If it's in brackets, there might be a second form, alternative form. Sometimes it's an outdated form like nimein. It sounds weird. That's probably a really old form. Nimi tekee ihmisen. This is one example. A name makes a person. Tekee is from tehdä. Tehdä is the basic, the infinitive, to do or to make. It's both. And ihminen is person or human. Ihmisen is a genitive form. Nimi tekee ihmisen. So tekee in this phrase, it requires the noun in the genitive. Nimi on enne. The name is a sign. Like in Latin, they say nomen est omne. Nimi on enne. Enne, sign or omen. Then first name. Now you know already how to conjugate the word nimi. So you just put etu in front of the word nimi. You don't need to do anything with etu. So etunimi, if you check the declinations of the word nimi, you can see how to declinate it. And here I have one example. Kuinka monella on sama etunimi kuin sinulla? I actually found this phrase when I Googled the word etunimi. So this was in somewhere on the first page. So this means how many people have the same first name as you. And I think then they had the link to the website I showed you. So kuinka monella? Kuinka monella is like how many have. Because how many have, because kuinka moni is how many. But if moni is in, which case is it? Additive case, then it's like how many have. How many have, kuinka monella on, or actually this is how many have. Kuinka monella on? Sama, same, etunimi, first name. Kuin, as, sinulla, at you, so additive. Next one, surname, sukunimi. Examples. Onko sukunimesi harvinainen vai tavallinen? Sukunimi, like you know, it's the nominative. And here you have the possessive suffix. This is the question word, like is. Onko sukunimesi? Is your last name harvinainen, rare, vai, or tavallinen, normal, or common. It's like normal or common. Then nickname, lempinimi. Lempinimi. If you want to ask, do you have a nickname? You ask, onko sinulla lempinimeä? And lempinimi in partitive case. Lempinimeä. Onko sinulla lempinimeä? Do you have a nickname? Like in the previous lesson, we had having in Finnish, we express it in a different way. It's a bit like in Russian, maybe a bit like in Hindi, merepas, or in Russian, меня. So for English speakers, it's maybe a bit hard to understand it first, but this is the way we do it. Next one is person, henkilö. Here you can see the declination of, okay. In genitive, there are 3 different alternatives, henkilöjen, henkilöiden, henkilöiden. I would say henkilöiden. Henkilöitä, I would say this one. Henkilöjä, no, I wouldn't say this. But yeah, sometimes it's tricky because there might be 2 or even 3, like here, different alternatives. Example, how many people live in Finland? Kuinka monta henkilöä Suomessa asuu? Or you can say, kuinka monta henkilöä asuu Suomessa? Kuinka monta, how many, henkilöä, partitive of henkilö. Asuu, lives, third person. Suomessa, inessive form of Finland, in Finland. And then Mr. Herra. Herra. We don't use his forms that much, actually. The only situation where you would have to use it would be addressing the president of the country. Mr. President of the Republic. So, Herra tasavallan presidentti. So this is officially the way how you address the president. You can't just say anything. And here I have a link where you have some advice how to address the ambassadors and the partners of the ambassadors and president, the royals. We don't have royals in Finland, but this is like if you meet the royals of other countries. So maybe it's for more for people who work for the government, and also about the etiquette. It's good to know. But yeah, here I found this phrase. Tasavallan presidenttiä puhutellaan suomeksi. Herra tasavallan presidentti. So it says the president of the republic is addressed in Finnish. Herra tasavallan presidentti. And every Independence Day, 6th December, we have the president hosts a party in the presidential palace where he invites people, influential people from all fields of life, and he shakes hands hours and hours. So I think in this situation, you need to know this phrase. Otherwise, you wouldn't say herra to almost anyone. Mrs. Rouva. But this is quite old-fashioned. Nowadays, no one would say rouva to almost anyone. And I was actually checking how would you address the female president. We have had one female president. So I was checking if it was like rouva tasavallan presidentti. I think it was maybe like that. Here, example. Is a divorced woman Mrs. or Miss? Onko eronnut nainen rouva vai neiti? Eronnut is divorced. Nainen, woman. Rouva, this is vai or neiti, miss. Miss is neiti. So neiti, neidit, neitien, neitiä, neitejä. Neitiä, neitejä. Yeah. Here is one example from a book title, Neiti etsivä. I think my sister read tens of Neiti etsivä books. In English, I found out the name is Nancy Drew. But in Finnish, the name is like the girl detective. Neiti is Miss, etsivä, detective. So almost the same, not quite, but almost. But yeah, what you need to know is that you don't need to address older people in any special way. You don't even need to say te, which is this thing, plural form of you, which is, well, some people who work in customer service might use it, but even then, it's you don't need it actually. You can use it. It's not a problem, but yeah, sometimes someone might get offended if you say they and they are like, okay, am I so old that you're using this form? I'm not sure, but I myself don't use it almost ever. Very rarely if I speak to some, yeah, older people. But not even then. If it's 50, 60 years old, I might use it. And if I'm in good terms with someone who's even older, like 70, 80, I would just use their first name. And in Finland, this is quite common. You usually address all the, like, any person by their first name. Man, mies. I don't know if it's useful to show the declinations of the words, but mies, miehet. I have some titles here again. So Modern Men, the TV show, is Modernit miehet. Modernit miehet. Moderni, without the T, is the nominative, so the basic form. Moderni mies in singular, and in plural, modernit miehet. And the other one is two and a half men. Miehen puolikkaat. Miehen is actually genitive of mies, of the man, in singular, and puolikkaat, puolikas, is half. So puolikkaat is halves. So the halves of the man. So it's a bit different than in English, not literal. Nainen, woman. Nainen. I have some titles here again. What is a Woman by, was it Matt Welsh? So in Finnish, that would be Mikä on nainen? Mikä on nainen? Let's not talk more about this. It's obviously a too long question to answer. An adult woman, aikuinen nainen. I wanted to include this because this is a classic in Finland, a classic song. I think it was made in the 80s or 90s or even 70s. I can't remember, but the singer is still famous. And actually, there's always someone in the karaoke who, like a guy who wants to sing Aikuinen nainen every once. But I would say this is one of the top 5 songs sung by Finns in the karaoke. Aikuinen nainen. Next one is boy, poika. Poika. So the declination is not the easiest. So poika, pojat, pojan, poikien, poika, poikia. But let's not talk too much about the declination. And later, when we know much more about the Finnish, my wife who has learned Finnish as a foreigner and who's a professional teacher, she can like tell the rules. I will now concentrate to give you the things that you need in the beginning. So I would say just learn the basic forms and some basic phrases where you have maybe some other cases. Okay, Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit is the first phrase I got into my mind when I was thinking, okay, what would be an easy example? Isä, poika ja pyhä henki in Finnish. Quite religious, yeah. Isä, poika ja pyhä henki. Girl, tyttö. Tyttö, tytöt. Something happens with the T's again, but there are some rules for these. Tytön, tyttöjen, tyttöä, tyttöjä. Tyttö, sinä olet tähti. This is a Finnish movie, which means girl, you're a star. Tyttö, sinä olet tähti. Sinä, you, olet, you are tähti, star. And in the end, I have the verbs. To greet is tervehtiä. So how to create the present forms, for example. So you put the pronoun, for example, here, minä, conjugate the verb tervehtiä, and the noun in participle. So minä tervehdin sinua. Sinä, so I will give all the 6 pronouns and their like how to conjugate the verb tervehtiä. Sinä tervehdit minua. So you greet me. Hän tervehtii sinua. He greets you. Me tervehdimme sinua. We greet you. Te tervehditte meitä. You greet us. He tervehtivät teitä. They greet you in plural. So here you can see the examples, but you can put anything like, for example, tyttö. Tyttö tervehtii poikaa, or poika tervehtii tyttöä, or herra tervehtii rouvaa ja neitiä, or neiti tervehtii herraa, or rouva tervehtii neitiä, or henkilöä, the person. You know all the words here. So this is this is the formula. You have it there. Next one is to introduce oneself, esittäytyä. Esittää would be to present, but the yä ending, esittäytyä, this is the reflexive verb. And let me show you examples. Minä esittäydyn sinulle. So this means I introduce myself to you. Then you please introduce yourself to me. Sinä esittäydyt minulle. He, hän, esittäytyy, introduces himself to, for you, for example, sinulle. And then we, me, esittäydymme teille. We introduce ourselves to you. And you, te esittäydytte, heille. You, in plural, introduce yourself to them. And they, he esittäytyvät meille. They introduce themselves to us. and we have still two. So to know someone, tuntea, is to know, like knowing something. Facts would be tietää, but you don't need to think about that. We will introduce that a word later. So tuntea, knowing someone, some person. So I know you, minä tunnen sinut. And the formula is here. Pronoun, then conjugate tuntea, and the noun accusative. So this is different than here. Here, to introduce yourself, it required alative. But tuntea, this verb requires the accusative. So minä tunnen sinut, I know you. Sinä tunnet minut, you know me. Hän tuntee minut, he knows me. Me tunnemme teidät, we know you. Te tunnette heidät, you all know them. And he tuntevat meidät, they know us. So this is the formal. And you can say, for example, tyttö, the girl, tuntee pojan. Or poika tuntee tytön. The boy knows the girl. Herra tuntee neidin. The mister knows the lady. It was lady. The miss. Neiti tuntee herran. The miss knows the mister. Rouva, the madam or Mrs. tuntee neidin. Ja herran. So like you can see here, this is the formula, and you just need to learn how to conjugate the declinative verbs. But if you create some sentences which make sense, like a small story where you have something with these words, you might be able to memorize them better. So yeah, maybe we will also later on YouTube comments, or if we include this YouTube video in a blog post, we will also give you some more example phrases and a small story where we have used the words introduced in these episodes. The last one is to be called. I talked about this here, telling your name. So I said, olen nimeltäni. But by my name, I am Kristen. So this sounds old-fashioned. I think it's because maybe it's from Sweden, because in Sweden they have heta. It's also the structure is similar, like in Spanish, llamarse, French, s'appeler, je m'appelle, no, je m'appelle, yeah, je m'appelle, me llamo, ich heiße, olla nimeltään, but we don't use it much. Here is the formula. So you conjugate the verb to be, olla, and then the root of nimeltään. So the root, I think, is from this part, and the possessive suffix. So for example, by my name I am, olen nimeltäni Christian. You, olet nimeltäsi, he or she on nimeltään Christian. We, olemme nimeltämme Christian, Christiane ja we are. Yeah, this is tricky. I mean, basically, you wouldn't use any of these. I think this structure is mostly used in the third person. Hän on nimeltä. He or she is called something. Hän on nimeltään. And mostly in written form. But if we speak about someone who's not here, we would say sen nimi on, his name, like, or hänen nimi, and not hän on nimeltään. Anyways, that was all about introductions. So now you should have all the answers for the blank spaces. You can find our books on our website, ultimatelanguagenotebook.com. If you don't want to get it, it's only $12.90. You can of course always use a blank journal or notebook where you can just structure like this what you have learned, and like you can see here on the left page you have the phrases that for which we gave the answers, and the right page is still empty. So what you can do is writing, for example, the some of these phrases, but you conjugate them in different persons, like asking what's my name, what's your name, what's his name, what's our name, your name, their name, and then also writing the answers. And the same with all the phrases here. You can try to conjugate them on the empty page, because I think that would be really useful, because you learn some very important concepts, like having and being, like the verb olla, to be, some question words like kuka or mikä, and I think it's one alternative, but of course you decide yourself, and if you have any ideas what to write there, you can also write comments if you want some answers for some phrases that you want to write in Finnish. So just let me know in the comments. But yeah, thank you for listening and or watching this episode. Next time we will talk about numbers. So see you next time. Nähdään. Hei hei. Kiitos ja moikka.